Hi guys at home, I'm just still pushing some buttons and logging into
Because
things.
Jenny didn't know that TR meant Tuesday, Thursday. She thought it just meant Thursday. So it conflicted, so we have switched. So now, when you're teaching on Mondays and Wednesdays, is when I have mine.
Right at 4?
Yeah. Just like it's, I mean, it's just like,
Okay, I think I am in good shape. Thumbs up, you guys can hear me at home? Yeah, good, okay. Can I see everybody? That's great. Welcome back. Yay. Now let me see if I can switch to the other camera and you can see the folks who are here. Takes a moment for the other camera to get up and work. Whoa, oh, I see what's wrong. Check this out. Woo! How's that? Everybody in the classroom, wave hello. Really up high so they can see. Yeah, there you are. Good. So you folks at home aren't alone, is what I'm saying. I'm going to switch back to the video on my face, though. Which one? I think it's. Oh, no, I'm going to do that in a minute. This one, that's on my face. Oddly, I hear some feedback. Let me see where that feedback is coming from.
just kind of works as well.
Okay, I feel like we're in good shape and ready to get started. We have a,
I'm gonna jump out of the class.
if you guys are done, I'll get started now. We have extra topics to look at and talk about on Tuesdays. It's our extra day together. It's a little bit of a challenge in the sense that really this extra day is designed to sort of bring you folks up to speed. The other folks that are in Math 1153 have a little edge on you in terms of the algebra classes that they've taken and passed. And that's why we're in this class together, because your colleagues in the rest of Math 1153 have some stronger algebra skills than you guys have. And that's why we're here to give you just a little extra bump, huh? That's the idea anyway. I don't intend to teach algebra during this hour with you guys. And your algebra is just fine as far as we're concerned. But I do have a couple of topics of mathematics as it applies to statistics. You heard me say yesterday that our statistics class is really largely an English class. As a matter of fact, there should be an English prerequisite, I think. But of course, I'm not in charge of the world, so who listens to me? So we're going to talk a little extra about math on these Tuesdays. And I've picked a few topics that I know to be common sort of sticking points for folks. Okay. And we're going to start off this week talking about study skills. Not very exciting, but nonetheless, it's a topic we need to talk about. And you heard me speak just a little bit yesterday about getting homework done is important, and you got to read the book, and there's all these resources that I provided to you, right? And you have to either read all of those or watch all of those videos. There's a fair amount of work to do outside of class. I do not have the time in 50 minutes, 3 hours a week to tell you everything that you need to know. In order to say everything that I would need to say and teach you everything that I would need to teach you in our regular class, in our Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 50-minute sessions, I would have to just talk a mile a minute. You wouldn't have a chance to keep up with the notes. There would not be any time for conversation, questions, jokes, or anything else. I just have to go blah, 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 for 50 minutes straight. You'd walk away with hand cramps from trying to keep up with me. It would be a lesson in stenography, really, in order for you to just keep up with everything that I would need to say. So, as is commonly the case in college level classes, some of the information that you need to know, you're going to have to figure out for yourself. I mean, I love you. I'd be happy to do it in class, but there just literally isn't time to do everything that you need to know, understand, and see. So some of it's going to have to come from you on your own time. and self-advocate and figure things out for yourself. And that's kind of what college life is all about. Agreed? That's why college is different from high school. I'm sure high school teachers all scared you to death. This isn't going to fly once you get to college. Well, we let you get away with a lot in college, but some stuff you have to just pick up and do on your own. And this is really one of the first classes in most people's careers where they're going to have to do that. Figure some things out for yourself. So study skills is actually terribly important in this class. I'm going to start off with a general rule of thumb. I hope you've heard this before. It shouldn't be news. And that is, you should be studying for a class 2 hours outside for every hour you spend inside a classroom. Have you heard that before? 2 out for every 1 in. So this is a 4-credit class. So we're spending 4 hours a week together. Double that. That means you need to be studying 8 hours a week outside of class. 8 hours a week just for this class, let alone all of your other classes. And this starts to make sense because I'm sure you guys have all heard that a 12-hour credit load is full-time student. All right, well, let's do the math. If you have 12 hours inside, how many hours are you supposed to be spending outside of class? 20. Oh, it's a math class. You have to do 2 times 12, huh? 24. 24 hours a week outside of class, plus 12 hours a week inside of class. How many weeks are you spending in school? 12 plus the time you spend on your school classes outside of class, for a total of? It's a math class. You can get a calculator out if you want, or you have to add 12 and 24 by yourself in your head.
36.
36 hours a week spent on school. That's full time, isn't it? Anybody, what's a full-time job usually?
About 40 hours.
About 40 hours a week, huh?
6 hours a week.
Yeah. So that's why a 12 credit load is considered full-time, because it's a full-time job. You're spending 36 hours a week working on school. Yeah. Now the other news flash of the day is those 2 hours outside of class for every 1 hour inside of class is not all doing homework. Homework ought to take, generally speaking, for most college classes, not just this class, I'm talking all college classes. Homework should be about equal to the time that you spend in school. So if you're doing a 3-credit class, you should be doing about 3 hours a week of homework. 4-credit class, about 4 hours a week of homework. All right, so what do you do with the other 4 hours you're supposed to do outside of class? Study, which is not the same as homework. And that's a big surprise to many, many people, that studying for a class is not just doing homework or more homework. Some folks sometimes come to me and they say, you know, we only had 6 problems on our homework. That wasn't enough for me. Can you give me some more homework problems to practice on? And I'm like, you just shouldn't be doing any more homework problems to practice on. You should be studying. And they're like, what's that? Okay. There is a 1-credit class offered at ISU. It's called ACAD 1103. I'm pretty sure it's 1103. You might have to look it up. ACAD are the first 4 letters of the classes, though, ACAD. So you can look them up if you want to and still sign up for them. I think that date hasn't passed yet until the 25th. Am I right? You could still sign up for classes. It's a 1-credit class, and it teaches mathematics study skills, specifically study skills for math classes. So I'm going to do a 1-day discussion about study skills for math classes. And you guys are going to spend a week looking at that, studying it, practicing it, answering some questions on it. And I'll ask that assignment to be due before class next week. Study skills. What are some good study skills? And you need to sort of tailor make this for what are the study skills that you personally need to work on. Because we all have our own strengths and weaknesses, right? So we want to make our weaknesses less weak and we want to rely on our strengths, huh? So you're gonna have to do a little soul searching, thinking about what are you good at, maybe what are you not so good at. Let's rely on the things that you are really good at, and let's see if we can't improve the things maybe that you're not so good at. Fair enough? That's sort of the idea for this week anyway. And then as we move on to next week, we might get a little more mathy with our hours together on Tuesday. I try to come up with something meaningful every week, should be worth your while every week. I've had good success with our Math 1153P sections. If we didn't have this section, you guys would all have to go take another algebra class for an entire semester, pass that before you could take statistics. With this 1153P, we're saving you a lot of money and a lot of time if you can get through this P section class. And I've had great results with it. You know, the only people who are not passing are the people who like stop coming midway through the semester. Not a lot I can do about that, right? But for the folks who stick it through, they have really, really good success. So I hope this is helpful. And I'm happy to get some feedback from you guys. If there's something that I'm skipping over and you need some help on it, you need to self-advocate and let me know and I'll pull something together for you. Good? Whole idea is to just help you guys be successful. And it's in my own best interest because quite frankly, if you get really good at answering these statistics questions, then my grading your final is a snap and I get to start my summer vacation early. Much easier to grade a right test than it is to grade wrong tests. This is in my own best interest for you guys to do really well and your interest as well. Good, should we get started then? Okay, all right. So I'm going to switch over to a different camera. I think what I can do is switch that over. And for you guys who are distant, I think I can do this. Is that forward or backwards for you guys at home? It's forward. You can read that. Totally looks backwards to me. But you guys can see it well on the screen. Okay. This is really strange for me, but we're going to run with it. Okay. Oopsie, rotate that a little bit that way. How does that look? Keep me honest if by accident I forget to scroll the camera properly, okay? Same thing with you guys at home. If there's something you can't see that I'm writing, just speak up and let me know, would you? All right, here we go. I picked 10 of my favorite study skills, 10 things that, generally speaking, as I visit with folks, I see that they do wrong or poorly. I ask them, hey, did you do this item number 3 when you studied for the class? They'll say no. And I'm like, well, that might explain the F you got in your test. You know, these kinds of pieces of advice. So the number one that so up here at the top, I've said study does not equal homework. Studying for a class isn't the same as just doing more homework. Here, don't attempt to cram all of your studying into one session. So if I just got done saying that you need to do 8 hours of work outside of class for every hour, 8 hours a week outside of class, for this Math 1153 class, my suggestion is that you do not put on your calendar, I'm going to spend 8 hours straight on Saturday studying statistics. That's really not the clever way to go. Instead, better off, you know, coming up with an hour here, 2 hours there, an hour and a half every day. Take Sundays off if you want. Pick a day that you don't study for classes, that's fine. I try to not work on Sundays. I feel like I need to have 1 day a week that's spent on perhaps more spiritual activities than mathematics and statistics, okay? Pick several days. Uh-oh, bad pen. Here we go. Pick several days per week, split into 1 or 1.5 hour sessions. Could be 2 hours. You guys know what your level of ability is to concentrate. But my suggestion is you don't say, all right, from 5 to 7, Monday through Thursday, I'm going to do all of my homework for all of my classes. That's really not going to fly. So try to break it up a little bit. 15 minutes is oftentimes not enough, but sometimes getting a 15-minute session in, maybe on a Saturday, is not a bad idea. 15 minutes is oftentimes a good period of time to spend studying vocabulary words, as an example. And you guys know how to study vocabulary words, right? You just look at the word, write down the definition, use it in a sentence or use it in an example. So 15-minute sessions count. That would be a good session. Don't attempt to cram all of your studying into one session. And you might want to make a note to yourself, are you good at that or bad at that? Do you find yourself cramming all of your homework into one day? Maybe give yourself a letter D on that. You know, I'm not so good at that. Or are you good at splitting out your study sessions across the week? Then give yourself an A or a B on that. Self-evaluate. The next thing, plan when you're going to study. I found oftentimes that people just find themselves at home, they're watching TV, and then they think, oh gosh, I should probably do some homework. That's really not the best way to get your studying done. Just, oh, you happen to find some free time. Oh, I think maybe I'll do some homework right now. I mean, if that happens, great, good for you. But I think better than that is, it's Monday at 4, this is the time I do my English homework. It's Tuesday at 5:30, this is when I do my statistics homework, right? I don't have any Thursday classes, so Thursday at 9 o'clock, I do this homework. Thursday at 10:30, I do that homework. So plan a schedule. Count the hours. And if you're taking a 3-credit English class, schedule in 6 hours for your English homework. If you're taking a 4-credit math class, schedule 8 hours to work on your math homework and study. Okie dokie. Next. Study at the same time, and this is actually a physical thing. It's a physical thing. What I mean by that is it just has to do with your own biorhythms, right? How your body works. Human beings, as a general rule, do really, really, really well with repeated schedules. Wake up in the morning, brush your teeth, have a cup of coffee, make yourself the same kind of toasted donut with the same kind of cream cheese every morning. 10 o'clock, get in the car, right? Noon, lunchtime. We do really well, generally speaking, human beings, if we stick to something of a schedule. I suppose there are a few people who have an, different experience than that, but I'm talking about most of us have a personal biorhythm. We know we get low energy at 2 o'clock, fine, then don't plan on studying at 2. Take that 2 o'clock time to watch your TV show or have a little nap or, right? Or go down a rabbit hole in Facebook or something, right? Do that when you're sleepy at 2, that's fine. Have a cup of tea, you're going to perk up at 3:30, fine. At 3:30, then that's going to be your time to study. So this is really a physical reason why we suggest that you study at the same time every day, every week. It really has to do with your own biorhythms. Give yourself a little letter grade on those also. I'm good at that. That's really how I live my life. Oh, I'm not so good at that. I'm a spontaneous person. Nothing wrong with spontaneity, folks, huh? But generally speaking, you'll be better off if you have a nice, steady schedule with some consistency. I mean, that's just been shown over and over and over again, all kinds of psychological studies. Next, the thing I want to talk about, each study time should have a specific goal. And this is going to change day to day. So like as an example, I have a study time where I'm going to study vocabulary. I have a particular study time that I'm set to study for a quiz. I have a specific time where I work on homework. I have a specific time that I'm going to read the textbook, etc. So these study sessions may change over the course of the semester. You know, if a test is coming up, that's the time you need to be studying for a test. Or if we're starting a new chapter starting on Wednesday, then you know you need to read the textbook sometime between now and Wednesday. So if you have studies time tonight, that study time tonight is probably going to be spent reading chapter 1 for tomorrow's class. Give yourself a little letter grade on those too. I'm going to pause for just a moment. Questions that I can help you guys here in the classroom? Questions, comments, difficulties? How about you guys at home? I'm going to open up the chat room. I haven't done that yet, and I need to. I see there's a couple of chats there. There we go. Chat me if you have a question or unmute and speak. You're okay? Ready? Great, let's keep going. Never procrastinate on your planned study session. And I'm going to put the word never. Now, I know, speaking for myself, I use my AI, on my devices pretty frequently. I'll say, Alexa, remind me to write that quiz tomorrow at 3. Alexa, remind me of the faculty meeting Friday at 2. Alexa, remind me, And then sure enough, that time period comes along and Alexa says, I am reminding you of the faculty meeting at 3. And I just turn her off. Because I'm to the really good part on my Netflix TV show. Or I need to battle those battle monkeys on my spaceship game, right? Something. Okay. So when I say never procrastinate, really, I mean, you shouldn't procrastinate. You know that. But hey, listen, folks, sometimes pretty amazing things happen. Brad Pitt is having lunch at McDonald's on Yellowstone. And your alarm goes off to study. Hey, my suggestion is hang out there for a little while. Maybe you have a chance. Say hello to that guy. That's a once in a lifetime thing. That's awfully important. I truly believe moderation in all things, including moderation. Every once in a while, you have to do something extreme once in a while, huh? We'll see. One of the things you should do is come to class. And you should always come to class. Unless there's something really awesome happening outside in class, in which case ditch me and go do that. You're young, you have a life, you need to do fun and interesting things, just not all the time, right? There's a bitchin' snow day, go ski. I'm just saying, that's great. They're few and far between. Go do that once or twice in a semester, huh? Okay. So moderation in all things, including be moderately moderate. Every once in a while, do something a little on the wild side, huh? Spice of life. Never procrastinate. So what are your procrastinations? Identify. Kids say they need something, and you're like, Mama's got to study.
But they need it right then.
Sometimes you can address that concern, sometimes with certain kids anyway, right? Depending on their maturity level. You can appeal to them and say, there's things you need to do, there's things I need to do too. And I say this with all due respect because I was a single mother of a 5 to 10-year-old when I was an undergraduate. So I say that from experience. I really believed I was a very successful undergraduate. I was a failure as a high school student. Please don't think that I'm awesome. I'm not. I barely graduated on time. Oh my gosh. I had to take high school classes at the local junior college just so that I could graduate at time over the summer and at night. Got it done. Okay, but I was a very successful undergraduate. And one of my successes was I did what I was doing when I was doing it. I did what I was doing when I was doing it. That really worked for me. So when I went to school, I did school because my 5-year-old was in kindergarten, you know, he was taken care of by teachers and right, and all that worked out. And so I could go to school and I studied in the student union building. I had, you know, study groups. I went to class. As soon as class was over, I did my homework or I read for the next, you know. So I got all of my school done during those hours when my son was, you know, perfectly healthy and taken care of, right? Okay.
I'm a single mom with a 6-year-old. So.
All right, so there we go. He was between 5 and 10, right? So, so I got school done. And then when I got home, my school was already done, so I could be a mom when I needed to be a mom. And I really needed to be a mom from the time he came home from school right about through dinner, because after that he was playing with friends anyway. So it was like 3 hours. So after dinner when he's playing with friends, that's when I got some more school in, do you see? So I'm like doing school when I needed to do school. I was momming when I needed to mom. And of course I was young and single. So I went out on Friday nights and boy, I did that. I did it very well. Fridays and Saturdays.
I don't even know what that is.
I did, well, I felt it was important for me.
Well, I also work full-time too.
See, we all have different situations, but yeah. And so my son would go stay with his auntie and uncle, totally well taken care of, playing with other kids, safe, all the rest, right? School's already done because I had done it after dinner and I had done it during the school hours. And I got a hold of my girlfriends and we went out and hit the town and hit it hard. Right? So I was doing what I was doing when I was doing it. And so then it was a secret to a stress-free, low stress, no such thing as stress-free, yeah. Okay, because I had my social life, so I wasn't aching about friends while I was working, like I'm doing homework. I wish I could go out with my friends and I hate it, I have to do this homework. I didn't feel that because I knew I was going to go out with my friends. It just was going to be in a couple days and I can do that as long as I do this now, right? And when I was out with my girlfriends, I wasn't like, oh, I shouldn't be doing this. I feel so guilty because I really should be doing homework. I'd done my homework. So do you see what I mean? So it was a very successful strategy for me, and everybody has to tailor make it for whatever your priorities are. But I think family time is terribly important. I think being young and free and single or not single, whatever, but be young and free, live life. I think that's important in moderation. Do what you're doing when you're doing it. Don't let me be on a high horse. I'm not, to share in my own experience. All right, let's keep going. Work nights when I usually should be studying. It's great if you can get a job that you can study at also. It all depends on what kind of job you have, huh? Yeah. I did have a part-time job when I was an undergraduate, but it was tutoring. So that was kind of like doing homework, if you get my meaning, right? So that was kind of nice. All right, let's see what else we want to take a look at. I think it's this button I need to push because we only have a few more minutes, huh? I want to talk about our assignment too. Start with the most difficult subject first. That's a suggestion, not true for everybody, but it is a good suggestion. You know, peel off the Band-Aid quick concept, right? So some of us, English class is hard. Some of us, anatomy and physiology might be the hard class. Some of us, maybe statistics is the hard class. But whatever's the greatest challenge, the idea is get that done first. You know, it's like eating your spinach first and then dessert last, kind of. Right? It's something, I see some nodding around the room. You guys know what I mean by that. It's hard to live by, but we all know it's tends to be the best way to prioritize things. Do the icky one first, and then you can go to the stuff that's sort of fun. Always review your notes before starting an assignment. I'm oftentimes pretty amazed when people are trying to get their homework done without having read the book and without having looked at their notes first. There really is an order in which you're supposed to do these. Make sure that you read the book before class. Review, then after class, review notes. Then do your homework assignment. And then after the homework assignment is a second review, major concepts. What was it about those assignments that my teacher liked so much that he or she assigned them to me? What was I supposed to learn from that assignment? Right? The goal of homework assignments is not to answer the homework assignment, singular, correctly. What you're supposed to do is figure out, what was I supposed to learn from this assignment? There's a reason why my teacher chose these problems for me to work on. There must be a theme here. What was the theme? What was the major idea? So it's really kind of read, review, homework, review, read, review, homework, review, lather, rinse, repeat. A couple more we want to look at. Make sure you're not distracted while studying. Uh-oh, cell phone. That cell phone that goes ding-a-ling-a-ling while you're studying is a huge distraction. We've all heard the don't text and drive, because why? Because it takes an alarmingly long amount of time, a deceptively long amount of time, to read and reply to a text message. As you're reading and replying to a text message, you think you're doing it in the blink of an eye, but you're not. I challenge you to time yourself. The next time your cell phone goes ding-a-ling and there's a text message waiting for you, hit a little stopwatch, read the message and reply to it, and look at that stopwatch. You'll be amazed how many minutes those things can eat up. So my suggestion is, during those study times that you've made on your calendar, you silence your phone. Obviously, exceptions are if you have, a child you're caring for or something, there's, right, you're waiting for something that's
Duct tape.
whatever, right. But I really do suggest that. So keep an eye on distractors. Study groups. OMG, study groups are so important and are woefully underused. Now, friends, I'm going to get my face on here again real quick. This Zoom room is available to you 24/7. This Zoom link, you can join it and I don't have to be in it. I don't have to start this Zoom session. You guys can use this Zoom session whenever you want to. You all should have email addresses for each other via Moodle also. You can reach out to other folks and you can say, what are you doing Tuesday nights at 7:30? Anybody want to have a study session? And you guys can log on here and use Zoom and have a study session. If you need to share screens, which I recommend, you just have to let me know to come in and enable that for you. I'm happy to do that. I can log into Zoom in a heartbeat, enable screen sharing. You guys can put each other's homework up on the screen and you can all work through the problems together as a group. I have no problem with that whatsoever. So you can have remote study sessions. I don't need to program them in on Zoom. You can use this Zoom ID and meet to your heart's content outside of class. Won't bother me a bit. If you need me to enable any features, just shoot me an email and I'd be happy to do that for you. Good? It's pretty fun, actually. We've done them. And if you need me to sit in on a study group, I can do that too, usually. Next. I'm glad to hear that, Rachel. Next, review your notes, schoolwork, and other class materials over the weekend. And I put weekend in bold because weekend is really different for different people. I think I mentioned a moment ago, I really try to not work on Sundays as much as possible. Yes, I will check my email, but I have to admit it's infrequent on Sundays. But if you guys have an emergency on a Sunday, of course, I'm going to answer your homework question or whatever your concern is. But use those 2 days as whatever, fully as you possibly can. I think once you start trying to make a calendar for your study sessions, you're going to see you're going to need the weekend to get all the hours in. I think you'll see that anyway. Good. Get some rest time in there too. There needs to be some rest and recreation time. Okay, the other thing that I want to share with you guys is I sent you all an email. You should have received it already. You're welcome to if you have a smart device. Check your email. I shared a Google folder with you earlier today. I believe the easiest way to find that, I think you can click on it from the email I sent. But failing that, I'm going to share my screen and see if I can't demonstrate how that works in our remaining minutes here. Oh, let me move this out of the way. I don't need you. I don't need you, and I really don't need you. My preference, again, is Google Chrome. You don't have to use Google Chrome. I just find it to be the browser that does a good job in terms of Google Documents and Google folders. I would suggest going to drive.google.com. I think that's a real good way, is just go straight to drive.google.com. And my suggestion would be, once you get there, probably save it as a favorite. Now, I know some of you have Macs and some of you have mobile devices. So navigating to drive.google.com might be a little different for each of us. This is a general idea. Go to Drive and sign in with your ISU email credentials. I'm sure you have other like Gmail accounts perhaps, which is great, but you'll want to sign in with your ISU email credentials. So full email at isu.edu and your password. Okay, yours is going to look a little bit different than mine, I know. You'll want to click on Shared with Me. I think that's where you're going to find the folder. Obviously, I use my folder or my Google Drive a lot, so I probably have all kinds of folders and documents that you won't have on your own Google Drive. But when you click on Shared with Me, you ought to have a Math 1153P Sp21 folder. Should be there somewhere. It'll be hard to find. If it's not with Shared with Me, try shared drives also.
Does it look like this? Can you see that?
No, because I have my up close glasses on and not my halfway across the room glasses.
So I have a study skills.
Yeah, study skills, that should be it. Yeah, you see, it says M1153P Sp21. Do you see at the top? Good, that's it. Shared with Me. Oh, of course, and I need to switch this. Keep me honest so I can switch. I have several buttons I need to push. This is like a 3-ring circus teaching here. There we go. So you should have a folder that looks something along the lines of 1153P Sp21. There should be 2 documents, one called Instructions and another one's called 1153P Study Skills. Do you see those? Okay. And each week there'll be a new document there, or 2 sometimes, that I'll share with you in this folder. So either before class or after class, take a look at this. Again, just go to drive.google.com, go to Drive, sign in with your ISU credentials. Let's click on Instructions. Okay. So what I have is a little screenshot here. You're going to have a list of varying documents available to you in this shared folder. Find the day's worksheet. Today's worksheet's going to be called Study Skills. Next week, it's going to be called Ratios and Percentages. It's going to change each week. Find the current week, and you can tell what the current week is because it'll say that the most recent day this document was changed was like that very morning or the night before. That's the current one. And right-click on it. One of the options when you right-click is make a copy. As soon as you make a copy, it's going to propagate a copy of that worksheet into your Google Drive. Nice? Okay. I just found this is the easiest way to handle people who are both present and remote at the same time, is to operate with this method. So you make a copy, it'll save to your own Google Drive. I have a note, do not save the document in our shared folder. I've not given you editing privileges in our shared folder, so you ought not to be able to, but just in case something wacky happens with the programming on my end, please don't save your own work to the shared folder because then everybody else is going to look at it, right? All right. You're going to save it to your own Google Drive. When you're done with the assignment, then you need to share it with me, okay? Not as you're working on it. Don't share it with me too soon. As soon as you share it with me, that's really equivalent to turning it in, right? If this were a paper homework assignment and you hand it to your teacher, well, you're done with it, right? And if there's anything missing on it, those end up being zeros, agreed? So when you're done with your assignment and you're ready to turn it in, then you hit the share button, and you can see there's a share button in the upper right-hand corner. So that's the button that you would click. Under the people option, type in my email address. And then please make sure that I'm an editor. So that's what's going to allow me to go into your document and type comments, right? Oh, that was a good answer. Oh, no, I think you missed this. Why don't you try this next time? Send me an email and let's talk about this one because you really missed the mark and I feel like I need to clarify some things with you. So let's Zoom about it. Do you see? And if you just make me a commenter, then it's much more awkward for me to get those comments of mine embedded into your document. So it's almost like an English teacher who's like writing, you know, a little arrow and then they make comments in the margin. That's essentially the electronic version of what I'm trying to do here. So under people, type in my email address. Do please make sure that I'm an editor. And as soon as you hit done, it will send me an email. I'll know that you turned it in. That's turning it in. And as I make comments on it, you'll get notifications that somebody just entered information onto your document. So it's a live notification process and we can almost have a live chat about it. So I feel like that's the easiest way for us to get assignments, my handing them out to you and you handing them in to me. And we only have a few minutes left. This is perfect. I just want to preview what your assignment is here. It's called Study Skills. Don't write in this upper right-hand corner space. That's basically for me to type grades and the day that you turned it in and the day that I looked at it. And that's just for office use only, okay? Right there. Do a week from today before class, please. If you don't get it turned in before class, turn it in as soon as you can. It'll just be marked late, that's all. So this is how these documents work. They're like interactive worksheets. From the list below, please identify which you consider to be the greatest risk to your success in this class this semester. Write a single sentence or two at most that describes why this is your greatest concern. And you think to yourself, oh, gee, I come to class unprepared. I walk into math classes sometimes, and I have no idea what that teacher's going to talk about today. So that's probably, right, the biggest thing. That's a problem for me because then the teacher is talking 3 miles over my head and I walk out of the room. I know nothing more than I did when I walked in the room, and that's what makes me feel anxious. Those are the kinds of things you might want to talk about. Or perhaps you're just bad at coming to class. You're like, oh man, it's a 12 o'clock class and I always take a nap at 10 in the morning and sometimes I wake up late and okay, so maybe that's your difficulty. Just in general, you're like, I don't study. I think homework is an oxymoron. Those two words should not go together. I'm fine to do work in class, but I just don't do work outside of home. I'm too busy. I don't like it. Right? Whatever you think is your greatest concern, just one or two sentences, and you just type in these spaces right here. From the list below, which one is your greatest asset? What do you think has worked for you well in the past? And I think maybe think specifically about math classes, but they could just be any, whatever general ed class that you've taken in the past. I write a few questions and sometimes you write on the line, sometimes you type in a box. I've given you a small reading assignment. I want you to click on that link and remember how this works. You click on the blue words and then click on the hyperlink. Find out what a SMART goal is and then make a couple SMART goals. So that's something you're going to have to figure out for yourself. One goal that addresses your greatest concern and a secondary one also. And that's all you need to type in, fill in these boxes, and when you're done, okay, you're supposed to go to this website, choose and download a worksheet, work through the worksheet. Oftentimes you can print the worksheet, and if you can't, maybe you can scan it. I've got a little link that shows you how to scan a document using a smartphone. Turn it into a PDF file. You can save that PDF file in your Google Drive and provide the link to that PDF right here in the box that I've provided. It's pretty fun and easy. I feel with my heart that after having gone through a year plus in this pandemic where people are working remotely from home, that's not going to end. I think pretty much no matter what job you guys are going to go out and get in the future, there's going to be some remote element to it. People are going to save on office space if they have folks work from home. I believe that's not going to change. Companies are going to be able to save money by just renting cheaper office buildings if their folks work at home. So I think exchanging documents between people electronically is a necessary 21st century skill set. And we're practicing it here this semester. I want to practice some professionalism in our class this semester as we're learning how to do some statistics. So if you have difficulty with any of the electronics, let me know. We can always meet on Zoom and I can walk you through it. Yes, sir. Anything else? That's good. Okay. Again, I'm trying to be helpful. I hope it works out for everybody. That's all I have for you today as a group. You're welcome to head out. I'll stay here in case you have any lingering questions or concerns. Thanks, everyone.
So I had court custody yesterday and I wasn't able to be here.
Yeah,
So is there anything I need to make up or anything I need to look at
not really.
from yesterday?
Not really.
It was just how to get started.
Look on Moodle.
Okay.
Yeah. I think all the things
And I
that you
think
need
I've
to.
gotten into the book and everything, so I think I've gotten all that.
Good. And the homework assignment, web assign.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I have
good.
that one open.
Okay, you're in good shape then.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Mhm.
Zoom.